Here are today's top stories. Malacanang expresses concern over continued efforts by syndicates to smuggle drugs in the country. The AFP vows to implement reforms in its health service unit over the controversy at V. Luna Hospital. May Kawayan City and 4 towns in Bulacan are placed under a state of calamity. And Jordan Clarkson is reinstated into Gilas Pilipinas after receiving approval to play in the Asian Games. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malacanang has ordered stricter measures to stop what is interpreted as intensified efforts by syndicates to smuggle illegal drugs into the country. Rom Dulfo has his report.
Malacanang expresses alarm over the discovery of a multi-billion peso shabu shipment last week. Agents of the Bureau of Customs of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency intercepted some 4 billion pesos worth of shabu hidden inside 2 magnetic lifters at the Manila International Container Port. PNA also reported that over 6 billion pesos worth of shabu previously discovered in General Mariano Alvarez, Cavite last week went missing and may have slipped detection. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque urged the authorities to be more vigilant in the light of a new modus to smuggle drugs.
The Executive Secretary has ordered the NBI to conduct a thorough investigation on this matter. This was personally relayed to me by the Executive Secretary yesterday afternoon.
Roque meanwhile says the government will continue to strengthen its war against illegal drugs launched by the Chief Executive right after he assumed presidency in July 2016. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Metro Manila Development Authority started Wednesday the dry run for the High Occupancy Vehicle Lanes Policy, or HOVL, along EDSA. The MMDA hopes to implement the lanes which disallow single drivers and give way to vehicles with multiple occupants on August 23. The dry run will end on August 22. The agency hopes that the HOVL policy will help encourage motorists to use carpooling as a means to ease the traffic congestion in Metro Manila. Meanwhile, provincial buses will be banned from using EDSA starting August 15. These buses are allowed only until Cubao, Quezon City, or the Integrated Provincial Transport System in Parañaque from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. during weekdays.
Yung Provincial Integrated Transport Exchange, hindi pa tapos sa Santa Rosa, hindi pa rin tapos yung sa may Coastal Road. Kaya po ang gagawin natin, meron pa rin po silang window hours.
The House of Representatives approved on third and final reading the rice tarification bill, which would help ease inflation and lower the price of the food staple. Under House Bill 7735, or the Revised Agricultural Tarification Act, the country's minimum access volume, or MAV, for imported rice will be lowered to 350,000 metric tons from the current 805,000 metric tons. The bill proposes to set a general tariff on all rice imports and assigns the National Food Authority to facilitate rice importation to attain food security. The bill provides for the creation of the Rice Competitiveness Enhancement Fund and provides powers for the President to adjust tariff rates and regulate exports, among others. President Rodrigo Duterte certified the bill as urgent to expedite its passage. The Makati City Regional Trial Court has ordered the arrest of alleged drug lord Peter Lim and others who were indicted on drug charges filed by the Philippine National Police. An arrest warrant against Lim, along with self-confessed drug lord Roland Kerwin Espinosa, Espinosa's arrested associate Marcelo Adorco, and Ruel Malindangan, was issued by the Makati RTC Branch 65. The respondents are facing 2 counts of conspiracy to commit illegal drug trade in violation of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. State prosecutors filed a motion asking the same court to issue a whole departure order against Lim. They also filed charges against Espinosa, Adorco, and Malindagan, arrested alleged drug supplier Lovely Impal, and convicted drug lord Peter Ko. President Rodrigo Duterte is visiting Israel from September 2 to 5 this year. The Department of Foreign Affairs says President Duterte and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are expected to discuss common concerns. Among these are in the areas of labor, tourism, trade, agriculture, counter-terrorism, security, and law enforcement. The president will also meet Israel President Reuven Rivlin to discuss development cooperation and the close historical and people-to-people ties between the two countries. A business delegation representing different sectors of the Philippine economy will meanwhile participate in a business forum to be keynoted by the president.
The official visit will be the first by a Philippine president since diplomatic ties were established between the two countries 61 years ago in 1957. The historic event will highlight the enduring friendship between Filipinos and Israelis, which began when Manuel L. Quezon opened the doors of the Philippines as a sanctuary to an estimated 1,300 Jewish refugees who were fleeing the Holocaust.
Still to come, the AFP vows to implement reforms in its health service unit over the controversy at V. Luna Hospital. May Kawayan City and 4 towns in Bulacan are placed under a state of calamity. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues. The Armed Forces of the Philippines is asking for 1 month to clean up the AFP Health Service Command following the sacking of 20 officials due to allegations of corruption. AFP Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez Jr. earlier appointed Surgeon General Agosto de Villa as acting commander of the Health Service Command. Villas replaces Brigadier General Edwin Leo Torrella Vega, who was fired over the 1.4 million peso anomaly in medicine procurement for the V. Luna Hospital. Meanwhile, the AFP Logistics Staff Finance Management Office and the Inspector General will be tasked to oversee procurements of the Health Service Command. The AFP leadership has vowed to remove any trace of corruption in the institution. Stronger investments are likely to help boost economic growth from its slump in the second quarter of the year. Miguel Hill tells us more.
The domestic economy could regain its footing after a growth slowdown in the second quarter of 2018 with the help of stronger investments both by the public and private sectors. Finance Undersecretary Gil Beltran said there remains a silver lining because of a strong rise of capital formation. The gross domestic product, or GDP, rose by 6% in April to June, slower than the 6.6% in the previous quarter, due in part to the low contribution of the agriculture sector. Philippine Statistics Authority data shows a 20.7% jump in investments in the second quarter this year from quarter ago's 12.4% and year ago's 7.6%. Beltran said a 7% growth is not an impossible goal, noting the economy was able to hit such level in the past. Earlier, Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Ernesto Pernia said the domestic economy needs to churn in at least 7.7% growth in the second half of the year to be able to hit the lower end of the government's 7 to 8% GDP target. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The Department of Trade and Industry is studying a proposal to scrap import duties on some tin products to help ease the rising inflation. House Committee on Economic Affairs Ron Salos said a zero import duty rate on tin products will lower the cost of manufacturing canned goods that are consumed by millions of Filipinos. Import duties of these products currently ranges from 1 to 3%. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez, however, says they will study the impact of the measure on local manufacturers. Earlier, Lopez mentioned that there are some brands of canned goods that increase their prices because of the increasing world prices of tin plates used in manufacturing cans. In July, the country's inflation rate hit a 5-year high of 5.7%. A city and 4 towns in Bulacan have been placed under a state of calamity due to the damage caused by floods in the past few days. The local governments of May Kawayan City and the towns of Hagonoy, Pambong, Kalumpit, and Marilao have declared a state of calamity in their respective jurisdictions. The Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Bulacan is pushing for the declaration of a state of calamity for the entire province except for the town of Doña Remedios Trinidad. The Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office reported that as of Tuesday, floods cost over 41 million pesos in initial damage to farms and fish ponds in the province. The latest report showed that 170 villages went underwater, including 48 barangays in Malolos City. A total of 47 evacuation centers were also established in these affected towns and cities. Authorities arrested on Monday a newly elected village chair of Maguindanao, his wife, and 2 aides during an anti-drugs operation in Cabacan, North Cotabato. Drugs, cash, and a firearm were seized from Nestor Salama, village chair of Datu Montawal, Maguindanao, during a raid at his house. Among those confiscated were sachets of suspected shabu worth 290,000 pesos. PDA ARMM says Salama, along with his wife Norhata and his aides Kabunto Batunan and Johari Zombaga, were identified as high-value targets. The suspect is known to peddle illegal drugs in Maguindanao and North Cotabato. They are now detained at PDA ARMM headquarters in Cotabato City while awaiting charges. Up next, the relic of Saint Padre Pio arrives in Manila for veneration until September 8. Jordan Clarkson is reinstated into Gilas Pilipinas after receiving approval to play in the Asian Games. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
This time, it's a different flavor.
Pabangs ako ng kalahati.
Ay hindi ko sinasadyang makasakit ng aking kapwa-artista physically.
What? Sprinian nila ako ng hair color.
To bring out the child in me again, once again.
There may or may not be a kissing scene. with a girl.
Malaki eye bags ko, may pasa ako, bugbog ako.
First time kong manampal.
Dinala ko yung buong cast at saka crew sa Biri Island sa Samar for about 15 days. So parang naka-detain kami doon lahat.
Nag-jogging akong madami. Ako nagja-jogging, hindi ako nag-exercise.
Nakuryente ako. Lord, I am still alive.
Tsaka may dinosaur kami. Yan. Kami lang ata yung pelikula may dinosaur this year. So. Yes!
Filipino Catholics will again have the chance to venerate the relic of Saint Pio of Pietrelcina, which arrived in Manila on July 31. The sacred relic will be made available for viewing in various parishes in the country until September 8. The last time Saint Pio's relic was brought to the Philippines was in 2015. Padre Pio became famous worldwide for his stigmata bearing the wounds of Christ, which he endured for 50 long years. He was also known for making miracles such as levitating and healing illnesses. Padre Pio died on September 23, 1968. He was beatified in 1999 and canonized in 2002 by Pope John Paul II. The city government of Davao has deployed 4 brand new buses for the Libreng Sakay sa Kadayawan. The buses are intended for Davaoenos and visitors alike who want to visit the activities lined up during the 33rd Kadayawan Festival. The buses will be available until August 28 and will ply the route from SM Lanang to SM Ecoland in this city. 16 bus stops have been designated for those who want to avail of free rides. The free rides are expected to attract more tourists to visit the city during the Kadayawan Festival. Jordan Clarkson has been cleared to play for Gilas Pilipinas in the Asian Games. Clarkson will serve as flag bearer for the Philippines in the opening ceremony on August 18 in Jakarta, Indonesia. The Cleveland Cavaliers player received full clearance from the NBA on Tuesday. In a separate statement, Special Assistant to the President Bongo thanked the NBA for allowing Clarkson to play for Gilas. He is hopeful that Clarkson's contributions will help Gilas win the championships. The city government of Marikina purchased some 500 modular tents for use at evacuation centers during disasters and emergencies. Maricor Zapata tells us more.
In times of disaster, evacuees struggle to get life back to normal, and one way to ease their hardship is to give them humane living conditions inside evacuation centers. Marikina City Mayor Marcelino Teodoro believes that evacuees deserve a humane temporary shelter. That's why the city government had purchased 500 modular tents to be used as evacuation centers in times of disasters and emergencies. The modular tents, bought only this month, were set up for the first time in select evacuation centers in Barangay Malanday, one of the flood-prone areas in the city. The tents can accommodate 5 to 7 persons. It's top open for ventilation and closed on all sides for privacy.
Nagana nga po kami rito, todo sawa eh.
Nagbigay po sila ng mga pagkain, mga blankets?
Eh, wala. Mga ano lang, pagkain lang at saka iba, nagbigay sila ng yung pomba para ibanig namin.
Nakakatulog naman kami, kaya lang sako ang sapin namin. Mas maganda na yung ganito, lahat nagkakaroon.
The modular tents for the evacuees had gone viral on social media, and it earned praises from netizens. Evacuees in the recent onslaught of heavy monsoon rains said the flow of the relief distribution in the city has also become smoother as authorities had quickly identified the affected residents. Marikina City is no stranger to disasters, especially during the wet season, when heavy rains would cause the Marikina River to overflow and eventually flooding low-lying areas in the city. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Here's another look at today's top stories. Malacanang expresses concern over continued efforts by syndicates to smuggle drugs in the country. The AFP vows to implement reforms in its health service unit over the controversy at V. Luna Hospital. May Kawayan City and 4 towns in Bulacan are placed under a state of calamity. And Jordan Clarkson is reinstated into Gilas Pilipinas after receiving approval to play in the Asian Games. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.